Hi, everybody, and welcome to Maker Paradise. This is Jason, and I'm introducing another crowdfunder to our worldwide network. Maker Paradise is the network where crowdfunders learn from each other and help each other get better results with less stress. Today, I'm really excited. I'm introducing Casey Willett from Tennessee in the United States, and he's the creator of a game called the Opulent. And the Opulent, for folks who are watching from other countries, means expensive, rich, luxurious. That's what the word opulent means. And the game is provided by Black Locust Games. It's already raised $19,000 with 375 backers. So it's successful, and it has about 2 weeks left to go. Welcome, and I'm excited to introduce you to our network of crowdfunders. Casey, welcome.
Thanks, Jay.
Casey, in this segment, it's only going to be a couple minutes long. And really what I want to do is just talk about your current campaign and just your passion for crowdfunding, kind of your angle on it. So let's start with your current game really quickly. In my understanding of the game is that you have really created a world where people can go back in time and they can experience what it's like to live in the kind of crazy Prohibition era of the 1920s. Is that right?
Sure. Yeah. That's kind of what we were going for. Was we made a 1 to 4 player cooperative game where all of the players are operating a speakeasy during 1920s Prohibition.
Wow, it's really interesting. So I like that, and I think that as a game, and it's kind of two angles here: the gaming world and crowdfunding, which is the gaming world's a huge segment in there. So the game is, just to summarize for folks, what Casey has created in his current campaign is essentially a time travel box, which puts you back in the 1920s, and you get to role play and deal with the kinds of decisions that people would have to make under Prohibition. Prohibition is where alcohol wasn't permitted to be sold. And so all kinds of crazy stuff was going on, and they had these things called speakeasies. So right. It's basically a speakeasy is, what is a speakeasy for folks that don't know?
Sure. So a speakeasy was, it was pretty much a club or a pub or a bar that operated during the 20s and that served alcohol illegally because, during Prohibition there was a ban on the manufacture, transportation, and sale of alcohol. And it kind of got its name because when you went to the bartender to order a drink, you had to speak soft or speak easy in order to order your drink, because it was something that was against the law to do at that time.
Great. That's really cool. I didn't even know what the term meant. So quickly, can you give just say, I'm Casey Willett and I'm from Tennessee, and my background is so we had a rancher on the show recently. We've had engineers, chefs, all kinds of different folks, graphic designers, marketers, everything. So can you just introduce yourself in a couple sentences?
Sure. My name is Casey Willett and I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. Myself and my business partner, who couldn't make it this evening, we both work for a technology company here in the Nashville area. I spent about 8 years as a solution architect in services in the IT industry, and now I'm still in the IT industry, still working for the same company, but I recently shifted roles, and now I'm a financial account manager.
Wow, great. That's great. It gives a lot of background to see different people from different walks of life creating things and being on crowdfunding. And so your angle, if you will, or your sort of interest or space category is gaming, right? And you've created 2 games so far. The first one,
Correct.
Can you just briefly describe that in a couple sentences? And it was an interesting game,
Sure.
Very interesting.
The first game? Sure. The first game was called Regnum, Angelica, which I don't know Latin, but from somebody that supposedly knows Latin, it translates into the angelic kingdom or kingdom of angels. And it was a 2-player strategic card game where one person takes the role of all of the archangels, led by Gabriel, and another person takes the dark or fallen angels, led by Beelzebub, and they just kind of have it out in a battle, the final battle, if you will.
That's a really interesting theme. You've picked 2 very what I would call very emotional and evocative themes. The first one is angels versus demons, if you will. And the second one is prohibition and fun, kind of like restricting fun and trying to survive in an era where fun is restricted.
Exactly.
So just before we end out this segment, in terms of your sort of introduction into crowdfunding, we'll talk more about that in part 2, but before you had done your first game, had you ever made a game before?
Yes, but nothing published.
Okay. We'll talk more about that in the second part. Okay, so for this segment, I think that for folks who are listening, we got to meet Casey. He's seems like a super nice guy out of Tennessee and just works a regular job and has a passion for games and has now created his second crowdfunding campaign. The first one raised over $40,000, and this one is already at just shy of $20,000. So 2 really impressive results for the first kind of time out the gate to reach 40K. That's pretty awesome. And now coming out with a second one, which I would say shows staying power, and there's probably a lot more to come as he's learning and developing these games. And they're kind of interesting themes, really interesting. So it was really exciting to meet you, Casey, and for backers, now they know a little bit more about you, and for people who are looking to convert into being a backer, hopefully this has helped them as well. And we'll see Casey inside the Crowdfunder Education Series. So if you're interested in learning how he was able to create a success in his first time out the gate and how he's able to take those results and come back a second time, click below and apply to join our community. Thanks so much. See you next time.